Good morning and welcome to this session. Herewith I'm going to explain about web technology. So before starting with the course, let me introduce myself. So my name is Puneet. I'm assistant professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Sri Datta Institute of Engineering and Science, Hyderabad. So I completed my undergraduate and post graduation from Basveshwar Engineering College Autonomous, Bagalkot. So I have experience of total 7 years, 2 years of experience in Maharashtra affiliated to Shivaji University, and 5 plus years in our own institute, Sri Datta Institute of Engineering and Science, till present. So I teach basically the technical subjects like C programming, data structures, Java programming, Python programming, web technology, etc. And theory subjects like operating system, information security, computer organization, distributed system, etc. So here, today I am going to teach you the web technology for third year, first semester course. So as you can see on the slide, written as a web technology, here with start understanding these two words, what is web, what is a technology. So you can see that web, the term web basically taken from the spider home named as spider web. It is used to trap the prey, that is to hunt for eating. Let's observe the different structurization on the web. There are two or more different webs which are interconnected to each other through a thread, forming some patterns. So this interconnection, we can say it as a network called as a web network. So in this slide, you can see basically the network is used to connect between various people or community or societies, either through a handheld devices or computer systems. So these handheld devices or computer systems may be connected through wire or maybe wireless. So further, these networks can be classified into further more three types. Okay, first one is LAN, that is local area network. Second one is MAN, that is metropolitan area network. The third one is WAN, that is wide area network. Let us take an example for each one of these. Basically, let me speak our institute building, connection between the computers within the same lab, or else the different labs are said to be having a network connection like a local area network. So within the local area. So for a metropolitan area network, we can take example like connection between the institute head office, which is situated in Hyderabad city, and our institute head office uh, at our college, at our institute, which is at outskirts of Hyderabad, almost some 30 kilometers far away. So this connection can be said as metropolitan area network. For a WAN, for a wide area network, let me take a live example, that is connection between me and you all who are listening to me from a wide variety different states like Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. So I am sitting here at Karnataka and I am delivering you the lecture. That is what the connection between you and me is, WAN, wide area network. Okay. These connections now can be either wireless or wired. Okay. Okay. So there exists some technology that help us to establish these network connections. So that is what the design we say, that is web design. So there exists a design or a technology that will help us to connect each other. Okay. So that is what we study in this subject. That is what we study in this subject. How to create the technology or how to design it and see how we can develop various applications from it. Okay. That. So the syllabus of your web technology consists of the following. First unit introduce you the PHP language. So PHP is a server-side scripting language and a powerful tool for making dynamic and interactive web pages. PHP, it is actually an acronym for hypertext preprocessor. So hypertext is a text displayed on a computer display or any other electronic devices with reference to other text that the reader can immediately access. Okay. So hypertext documents are interconnected by hyperlinks, which are typically activated by either with a mouse click or a key press set or a touch screen. So I will be telling you about this hypertext more. Let me proceed to the next word, that is preprocessor. So in actually computer science, we say that a preprocessor is a program that process its input data to produce output that is used as an input to another program. So you might have came across these preprocessor statements in your C language, like hash include stdio.h, wherein I am going to include the standard input output header files within that. So these are also called as directives. So in computer programming, a directive or a paradigma is a language construct that specifies how compiler should process it input. Okay. So second unit tells about the HTML and XML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the standard markup language for creating web pages. It defines meaning and structure of web content. So I hope already you remember that HTML you have studied in your workshop lab, wherein you came across some of the tags of HTML and you created some static web pages, right? So here also we are going to revise those all uh, tags and syntax, tags and tokens. Okay, right. Next, XML stands for extendable markup language. Extensible markup language. It defines a set of rules for encoding documents in format that either a human or a machine can be readable. Okay, so XML is designed to carry data. It is not designed to display the data. The main benefit of XML is that you can use it to take data from a program like you can say Microsoft SQL, convert it into XML language, then share that XML with other programs or other platforms. Okay, like I am going to have a connection with Microsoft SQL using XML and connecting with other programs or other platforms like Java, something like that. Okay, you can communicate between two different platforms, which generally means like you can communicate between two different platforms, which are generally very difficult for a live examples. Okay, also XML will provide me the authenticity and validation. So hope in second unit we will definitely look more in detail about this HTML as well as XML, right? So third unit you are going to study about servlets. Servlets are the Java programs that runs on Java enabled web server or application server. So these are used to handle the request obtained from the web server, process the request, produce the response, then send response back to the web server. So servlets work on the server side. So these servlets we will definitely going to learn in more detail with live examples, like creation of some live examples, like how your Gmail application work right now. Okay, that demos we will do definitely do it. Okay, after learning. So in fourth unit we learn about JSP, that is Java Server Pages. So this is a server-side programming technology that enables the creation of a dynamic platform independent method for building web-based applications. So definitely don't worry right now. We will see in more detail about Java server pages during the time when we are studying about fourth unit. Fifth unit is regarding client-side scripting. So it basically means running scripts such as JavaScript on a client device, usually within a browser. So this is a syllabus content. So I just now talked about the hypertext. So hypertext means something what if I click, it will take me to some other page what I am desired for or I am desiring for. So now I linked your subject syllabus with the word syllabus. So I'm going to your web technologies syllabus content from your JNTU. So this is what your syllabus mentioned by the JNTU. Let me go back to the slide. Right. So further, before starting with the first unit, let me see or let us see what are the course objectives and course outcomes. So course objectives is something what the course is trying to teach you, what objectives are there in mind or you should keep in mind to study this subject. So first course objective is this course will introduce you PHP language for server side scripting. Second course objective is it introduce XML and processing of XML data with Java. Third one, introduce server side programming with Java servlets and JSP. Fourth one, introduce a client side scripting with JavaScript and Ajax. I hope you are listening to the Ajax as a new one. Don't worry, I will just brief you out during the time of fifth unit description or when we are dealing with the fifth unit. So course outcomes. So outcomes are the things what students will gain the knowledge after learning the subject or learning the course. So first point, students will be able, after learning the subject, students will be able to understand server side scripting with PHP language. Okay, so students will be able to write the PHP code, design the PHP, that is design the website, design server side controls or any web pages like that. So second one, students will be able to understand what is XML, how to parse it, how to validate it, and how to use XML data with Java. Third one is students will be able to introduce server side programming with Java servlets as well as JSP. Fourth one, students will be able to gain knowledge of client side scripting, validating of the forms, and Ajax programming, right? So these are the outcomes what students will be able to do after learning the web technology subject. Okay, so let me start with the first unit, that is PHP, right? So basically, what is PHP? So basically, PHP is an interpreted, open source, and object-oriented scripting language that is executed at the server side. So the PHP code will be always executed at the server side. Okay. So object-oriented in the sense. So hope you remember object-oriented when I do talk about the object. So it means Java. Okay. So Java is object-oriented. So herein I can use the JavaScripts also, Java programming also with the PHP to design a web page. So it is an open source in the sense it is freely available in the internet to download. You can modify the code according to your application, what you are going to print, according to the application, what you want. Okay. So PHP is well suited for web development. So it is used for developing various web applications. So basically, what is an application? What is a web application? So web application is an application that executes on server and generate the dynamic pages. So for example, when you go for a bank transactions and request for any transaction details either in the form of a PDF or any Word document, so you go and click a tenure or as a time period from where to where you want to see the transactions. So you just set the time, set the date, and click on download PDF. So dynamically, the transaction details will be generated and being downloaded in your system as a form of a PDF. So this is what a generation of dynamic pages. Based on the request, the server is going to respond you back. So these type of web applications can be created with the PHP language. So PHP was created in the year 1994 by the known scientist Rasmus Liardfo. So this is Rasmus Liardorf. So he is the creator of PHP. Okay. So before starting the PHP in more detail, there are some points to be remembered. So PHP stands for Hypertext Preprocessor, what we understood earlier during when I was telling you about the syllabus. So PHP is an interpreted language. It means there is no need for compilation. PHP is faster than other scripting languages, like example, your Java server pages. PHP is a server-side scripting language, which means it is used to manage some dynamic content of the website. That is what just now I told an example of bank transactions and all. PHP can be embedded into HTML code. Okay, so PHP is object oriented. So it is open source scripting language as well as it is simple and easy to learn. So you will experience more once we go further with our sessions. So basically, why do we use PHP? So PHP, it can handle dynamic content, it can handle the database, as well as it also keep tracks of sessions. Okay. Sorry guys for some technical issues. Now let us back to the course. So PHP can access cookies. It can also set the cookies. So we will definitely learn about the cookies in very more detail later on. So it helps to encrypt data and apply validation. Okay. So PHP supports several protocols such as HTTP. So HTTP, HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It is an application layer protocol. It is used for transmitting the hypermedia documents. So such as HTML pages. Okay. So it is designed for communicating between web browsers and web servers. Communicating between web browsers and web servers. So there are many more other protocols also which is supported by the PHP. So as PHP is easy to install and set up, the main reason why PHP is the best language to learn or to create the web content. So PHP can handle the forms such as collecting the data from the server or user, using forms to save it to the database and return the useful information what the user require. Example like registration form and all. Okay. So these are some features of PHP. So let us study one by one. So first one, performance. PHP script is executed much faster than those scripts which are written in other languages such as JSP or ASP. JSP in the sense Java server pages. So PHP uses its own memory so that the server workload and loading time is automatically reduced, which results in faster processing speed as well as better performance. Okay. So open source. Next one is open source. PHP source code and software are freely available on the web, so we can download it very easily without paying any cost. So all its components are free to download and use. Familiarity with syntax. So PHP has easily understandable syntax like your HTML. Okay, so programmers will feel comfortable coding with it. So next one is embedded. PHP code can be easily embedded within the HTML tags and other scripts so that I can design the web content very easily. So next one is platform independent, quite important. I hope you remember about the Java programming. So Java programming or a Java software is also platform independent. It also display the feature platform independent. So PHP is also platform independent, which is available for either different operating systems like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Unix operating system, etc. So PHP application developed in one of these, any of these OS can be easily run on another different OS, whatever. So if an application is developed in Windows, can be also used in the Linux operating system. So that is what platform independency behavior. So next, database support. PHP support all the leading databases such as it might be either a MySQL, might be either ODBC, it might be either anything, okay, or any other type of vendors who are giving us databases. Error reporting. PHP has a predefined error reporting constants to generate an error notification or warning at runtime. Example, you can see it later on. So loosely typed language. So PHP allows us to use variables without declaring its data type. So in Java or C programming, you might have saw that for an variable x to be having the value 10, I need to declare it earlier as integer int. Okay, so here there is no need of it. Directly I can take x is equal to 10. So the value will be automatically taken at a time of execution based on the type of data it is contains in its value. Okay, so next feature, serves web server support. So PHP is compatible with almost all the local servers used today, like you can say example like Apache, Netscape, then Tomcat, etc. So security. PHP is a secure language to develop the website. It consists of multiple layers of security to prevent the threats and malicious attacks. Control. The next feature is control. Different programming languages require a long script or a code, whereas PHP can do the same work in a few lines of code. So it has a maximum control over the websites, like you can make changes easily whenever you want. So last feature is a helpful PHP community. So in the Google search, if we go and search for any PHP community, it is available. So it has a large community of developers who regularly update the documents, tutorials, online helps, or any frequently asked questionnaires. Learning PHP from the communities is one of the significant benefits. So it is available all the data or a requirement to learn PHP. If any like something like any errors will occur which you can't resolve, you can just put a search in a Google. You will get the frequently asked questions or any answers or solutions from these communities. Okay, so that is what a helpful PHP community. So these are the features of PHP. So next, prerequisite to learn PHP, what the user should know in prior. So before learning PHP, the user should have basic knowledge of HTML. So basically HTML is used for designing static web page. CSS means cascade style sheets, helps to make the web content more effective and attractive. JavaScript is basically used for designing an interactive website. So these three topics should be known to the user or who is going to learn the PHP. So next is how to install PHP. So installation of PHP is not like something, it can be done alone, but it is suggested that to install the AMP, that is Apache MySQL PHP software stack. So there are many different AMP software stack available with according to the different operating systems. So some of the examples are listed here. So WAMP is for Windows, LAMP is for Linux, MAMP for Mac, SAMP for Solaris, and FAMP for FreeBSD. Basically, there is another software called as XAMPP, which is a cross-platform software stack. So it includes Apache, MySQL, PHP, Perl, and components also like FileZilla, OpenSSL, Mercury Mail, etc. Okay, so let us see some screenshots of how to install the PHP, right? So here is the procedure how you can install the PHP. So when you put a like a XAMPP server on the Google search, you will see this following uh, menu on the screen. Okay, so other than that, if you want to have a practical, so let me take you to the particular screen in the Google search. I will open Google. So I will write XAMPP here, you can see. So go for the first website. So you will get various versions of XAMPP software based on the different platforms like Windows, Linux, or any other different OSs. Okay, so you can download it directly by clicking it. So already I kept a download copy here in my downloads. So that is of a 32 byte. You can see the configuration of my system. So I will go to properties. You can see my configuration of a system is, it is 32-bit. It is not 64-bit. So I downloaded 32-bit XAMPP software, right? So you can download different versions of XAMPP based on your system requirement. So this is what. So once you download, Okay, let me go back to the place where I was. Right, screenshots. Okay, right. So once you download, you will get the file. So double click on the file, you will get the screen like this. So just click on the next. Then see that at the left hand side corner, left hand side middle, so you can see that you need to check out all the boxes here and again click next. So further you will get something option to change the drive where you want to install your exam. So basically it will be in the C drive in the folder exam. So let us not to change this and just go for the clicking next. So once you click next, again it will ask for if you want to learn more about any XAMPP server from the Bitnami website. So either if you can check, you can click a checkbox on or an off and click next. So further, once you click next at the above stage, you will get the another window where it is asking for like the software is ready to install, whether you want to continue. So if you want to continue, click next. So once you click next, uh, the software will be loaded. That process you will just experiences it. There is no any further steps there in between. So once the installation is complete, you will get the window like this. So it will ask for whether you want to continue with the control panel to open at the present time. You just click a checkbox and press finish. Once you press finish, a small window will be produced to check the preferred language what you want. So either you want to go for a USA English or some other different language. So uh, click this radio button and press save. So you will get the control panel like this. So let me show you this control panel after installation. So I will just put a XAMPP control panel here. So here you can observe. So this is the control panel of your exam. So here I'm going to start the Apache server. So it will take two ports, that is 80 and 443. Okay, then I will start the MySQL. So it will also take port 3306. Okay, so here you can see Apache at the time when I clicked, it was attempting to start, and second line you can see it is running successful. So it means I am able to create a host server in my system, since because PHP program will only run at the server side. I am creating the server in my host system, in my local system. I am not depending on any other different servers. Okay, so Apache is on, my server is created, also MySQL is also running, so that I can connect it to the database if it is required. Okay, this is what the exam software, it is regarding the exam software. So once it is done, I need to run the code. I need to run the code. It is not so difficult. So let us see how to run the PHP code. So before running the PHP code, let us see the syntax of PHP. So PHP code will start with the left angular bracket, a question mark, and a PHP text. So you can see here down. So in between, next you can add up your code here. So after adding up your code, it will again closes with the question mark and the right angular bracket. So this is what a syntax to write a PHP code. So steps, that is what after knowing about the syntax is, create a simple PHP program like a hello world, save it with the .php extension. So specifically it has to be saved in the htdocs folder which resides in the XAMPP software where you installed. Okay, there is a special note you can see, PHP program must be saved in the htdocs folder only, or otherwise you will get an error. If you don't save there, you will get an error. So step 3, run the XAMPP server, like start the Apache and MySQL servers. Then step 4, open the browser, any browser, either it may be any type of browser, how many browsers you have. Type localhost and slash the file name. So your PHP code will run. Let us examine about it. Let me create a PHP code. I will open the basic editor like Notepad. uh, I will just make the font size big so that you can visualize it properly. Like, let me go for some size 24. So I'm going to write the code here, so I hope you can see. Let me keep it as hello world. Okay. So next task is saving the document. So I need to save it in the htdocs in XAMPP. So let us go to the C drive where my software is being installed. Then you can find out there is a XAMPP folder. Go to htdocs. Here you can save the data. So before saving, save as type should be all files. Give the file name. So I am trying to print like hello world. Let me give the same name like hello world dot php. This should be taken care. php dot php extension has to be given, and then press save. So your file is saved. Let me go to any of the browser. Let me take the browser as a Chrome. In the address bar I will write like localhost slash my file name, that is hello world dot php. So I hope you are seeing the output as a hello world. So this was with the browser Chrome. Let me go for your Internet Explorer. I will take a new tab and I will type here the localhost hello world. So I hope you can see the output again. So any of the browsers you can take as an example, and you can just run your PHP code. So right. So this is it for up till. You can see here example program and output. That is what we observed. So right, I am going to wind up the session now. So in the next session, we will see further what are the different tokens available with PHP, how to print the data. We will understand each and every tokens, and how to create a web content, how to connect to the MySQL database, how to validate it, or how we can, and also we can have some application being designed, real-time application. So thanks for you all. Thanks for support. Bye.